Louisiana has some of the most restrictive abortion regulations in the country. With the looming Supreme Court decision, the state could potentially be left with just one abortion clinic.
There is currently a Planned Parenthood in New Orleans. It's been open for 3 years, but the law has prevented the clinic from being used to administer abortions. CBS News reporter Kate Smith visited to find out why.
So as you can see, we've been in this health center for 3 years. It was built with the intentions of providing abortion, so we built it based upon what we needed to comply with the state to provide that service. So we went through their, process for licensing. We submitted a very comprehensive application that was in September of 2016, and 3 years later we still do not have a license.
And what were some of the reasons that they did give you anything you needed to change? What were you compliant with?
I don't want to speculate, because according to our understanding, we had submitted a comprehensive application, but the state, it's really just a sham. Not, with politicians now really playing with women's reproductive health care. We have, addressed all of their regulations. We've submitted everything that they've asked for, and they still have not come back. In the meantime, we have continued to provide comprehensive reproductive health care here. So we are responding to the community's health needs as a quality health care provider. And still the state, we are doing all of this in a center that was built for abortion, but we have not gotten our abortion license.
So if you're doing all of these things and you're completely compliant with the state, why do you think that they still won't grant you your license?
I can't really speculate, but what we do know, because abortion is legal, it is unconstitutional for the state of Louisiana to deny us our license. We have submitted to them a comprehensive application. We have complied with all the guidelines, and we are ready to provide that service. Here in Louisiana, we have over 1 million women of reproductive age that could benefit from this in their health care.
With the upcoming Supreme Court case, how could the landscape of abortion access change here in Louisiana?
Well, it could change drastically. The admitted and privilege law, if upheld by the Supreme Court, would mean that 2 of the 3 abortion providers here could shut down immediately, and we don't know how long the other would stay open. And so that means that women in Louisiana would have very limited access.
Kate Smith is in Shreveport, Louisiana. So, Kate, Patrice says that she doesn't want to speculate about why Planned Parenthood has not been granted their abortions license, but has the state provided any clear reasoning at all?
So, good morning, Anne-Marie and Vlad. One of the most interesting things about abortion care in areas where it is difficult to get across the South and Midwest is that they regulate it in 2 different ways. One, for patients who are seeking the procedure, those are waiting periods that we've talked about, bans on gestational periods, but then also on the provider themselves. And that's what you're seeing play out at the Planned Parenthood in New Orleans. So she showed us around the clinic, and she showed us a few of the things that the state asked that they change. Things like a certain kind of paint on the walls, a certain kind of flooring. The hallways had to be a certain length, and all of these things they were doing already because they were a healthcare clinic, but what the state was saying was that they weren't. They had to go back, and there was this multi-year back and forth about what they were doing.
Wow.
So what are the regulations Louisiana has put forth on potential abortion providers, and how is the state defending them?
So the way they defend them is that, these are things that you need to have, a safe abortion happening. And so it's things that a lot of health centers already do. Like we said, hallway length, door frame length, certain things like that, sterilization procedures. But the problem is that Planned Parenthood simply hasn't heard from the state. I reached out to the state yesterday, and they haven't gotten back to me about why they haven't granted this license. But, if you look at the laws, Planned Parenthood is compliant with everything, and it shows you kind of a nationwide trend of states states using the licensing procedure to effectively shut down abortion care in the state. That's something we've seen play out in Missouri with that last clinic in St. Louis. So this, it's happening in New Orleans, but this is very indicative of something that happens all across the South and Midwest.
So let's say that, the people who campaign and lobby against abortion rights get their way, and there are, in fact, no abortion clinics in the state of Louisiana. What would that mean for the women?
So I spoke to Patrice about this, and she painted a very dire picture for women who are seeking abortion in Louisiana. The closest abortion clinic would be, if this Supreme Court case gets held up, would be 5 hours away in Shreveport, and that's where we are today. It's where the last abortion clinic in Louisiana will be. It's the Hope Clinic, and that's a 5-hour drive, and that interrupts care for women who are seeking the procedure. There's also a waiting period in Louisiana. That means they'll have to make that trip 2 different times. So what Patrice was telling me is that not only will it severely interrupt care for abortion in the state, but there's also the potential that women will do self-managed abortions in ways that potentially might not be safe.
Kate, during last night's 2020 Democratic debate, one moment that sort of electrified the crowd was when Senator Cory Booker brought up the health care of women, specifically with regards to abortion. Did any of the responses stand out to you?
Yes, I actually thought Cory Booker's response was one of the most interesting. He had a 3-pronged way of, enhancing reproductive health in this country. He wanted to create an office that would, look into these laws. He wants to codify Roe v. Wade, and he also wants to repeal the Hyde Amendment. That means that federal funding can go towards abortion care for low-income women. So he had kind of the most comprehensive plan around abortion. You saw a lot of the candidates, saying they support Roe v. Wade, they would support justices that supported Roe v. Wade, and kind of the only candidate that said anything that was, less than 100% supportive was Tulsi Gabbard, who, mentioned vaguely that she would, be supportive of restrictions on the procedure, but she even said that she would codify Roe v. Wade. So you saw a playing field of people who are very pro-abortion rights access.
All right, Kate, thank you so much for your reporting. I know we're going to be talking to you tomorrow as well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.